Here we are at the Extreme Fighting Championship. Jamie Hurst just told me you're a good friend of Brad Poole's. Brad Poole's, wow, what did he do for British boxing, for Cornish boxing, in a boxing ring a week ago today?
Well, he did the unthinkable for a start. No one gave him a chance, especially Heaney's team. I think that's kind of why they picked him. They underestimated him, and he basically he ruined their plans, really. In fairness, I think Heaney was looking ahead of Brad, but I think now it's only right Brad gets the rematch rightfully. Whether he does or not, different story.
If anybody's watching this, Brad Poole's, what a fantastic middleweight boxer.
Definitely.
You know, I just said to you off camera, this is a guy that used to collect the trolleys down Morrison's in Newquay. Exactly. You know, and he's very personable with people. He came back from sparring Conor Benn 18 months ago to give trophies out at a big event I did in Mevagissey. And he drove all the way just to do that and all the way back in support of men's mental health here in Cornwall. And he put on a fantastic show last Saturday.
He did. He definitely did. And he's a Cornish man through and through. Loves his pasties, and he's sparred some great fighters. He's even sparred George Groves as well, who's one of Britain's greats. And it's just great to see him now finally getting the recognition he deserves.
If I'm totally honest, I thought that Heaney would probably stop him in the later rounds.
Yep.
And as you said, they took him because I thought Brad was limited with his mobility and the way he dances around. And I think at the next level you need to move more.
Yeah.
But what I will say is Brad fought out of his skin. Mm-hmm. He surprised me and he surprised the British boxing public.
Definitely.
And I don't think Heaney would want to fight him again very soon.
No, and the thing is with Brad, I think it was a fair assumption in your prediction, because Brad has shown that when it gets to the later rounds, he's got some big old muscular legs on him, and they need filling when you get to them later parts of the fight. But you could tell that this camp he had that extra drive, that extra 20%, because he seemed to handle 12 rounds better than I've ever seen him. So it was he's definitely peaking at the right time, and I think it's on to bigger things for him.
If he had 100 fights, he wouldn't have a fight like that again, because he absolutely stepped it up. He knew that was his chance.
Yeah.
And, you know, COVID came and stopped him. Yeah. It's only 18 months ago he had to have a job whilst he was in Essex training. And it's a rags to riches, rocky story.
It is. I mean, there was 2,000 Stoke lot at the event last week. And they were all for Heaney. And do you know what? As soon as Brad starts sticking it on him and Heaney looked in trouble, on their side, you could hear a pin drop and you could hear the 150 people from Newquay, especially in Cornwall, out of everyone, and you know it was just a performance just to for the history books.
Let's talk about the fight, because I've watched it every single day for the past week in my barbershop there in St Austell, and I've looked at it and I've got close to it and I've stood next to the TV as it's playing, and Heaney was clever.
Oh, yeah.
He spat that gum shield out, and he bought as much time, because you know I box and I had a fight a month ago. You don't lose your gum shield.
No, not especially. And if you've done it 3 times, it should have been a point deducted. To be honest, I had Brad. If it was neck and neck, fair enough. But I did have Brad 1 round ahead. But even with the gum shield, I thought that he should have had a point deducted, and Brad should have been walking away victorious.
Yeah. Straight away now, they're talking about Heaney fighting Denny and going on to European, because they will not want that fight. But
for business.
Brad made waves, and somebody will want to do something with Brad Poole's from that fight.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know if Denzel Bentley would want to try and recoup the British title, because I think that would be a great fight. Denzel obviously got the decision over Linus, so there's obviously the storyline behind the fight. Brad will want to get revenge for Linus, but like I said, I don't think he's going to be short of options, and it's only good for his career and for the people of Cornwall as well who back him.
He's always going to be campaigning at middleweight. He's small for a middleweight. He don't want to be jumping around at super middleweight. You know, middleweight is where he is. But he's a massive test for anybody. I'd just like to see him handled correctly with the next 3 fights.
Definitely. I think the thing is now, I think with Warren, you know, they, like I said, they kind of did him a bit of a bad deal in terms of, you know, they didn't show his ring entrance on the show on Saturday, and you know, I think that he's owed a little bit of respect, and you know, I think there should be an opportunity there for him, and I think that now he's made a bit of, you know, he's turned a few heads with that performance, and I think he'll get it.
Never in living memory as a Cornishman gone out there and, you know, entertained and been in a professional boxing fight like that. Exactly. It was something special. He's in Cornish folklore now, and he's in British title folklore. Definitely. You know, what a guy. He
is, and he's a lovely lad. I mean, you know, I've always said to him that I would love to see him be a bit brass on camera, say I'm going to knock you out, but it's just not Brad. You know, it would be forcing it for him, because in real life he's just as nice as he appears on camera, and that's why he has such great support.
But after all this silliness we've seen in Saudi Arabia, and you know, people shouting each other out and swearing and throwing tables over, the way they both conducted themselves before the fight and after was remarkable and gentlemanly like, and it's how, you know, boxing should be, and British boxing showing the world what we do.
100%. I think that's what it is in this day and age. Like, controversy and animosity sells fights. It really does. But the tradition of boxing is a gentleman's sport. You know, you shake hands after you've done your 12 rounds. Yeah. And that's how it goes with British boxing. And I think Brad is the epitome, same as Nathan Heaney as well. I think they're great for British boxing. Yeah. And
it's okay.
That was.
No, the way Brad conducted himself and Heaney, I just thought it was commendable, because Brad just literally, the worst Brad got with the build-up was, you know, he's got something that I want, and that's as bad as it got.
And the British title is something that he wants more than anything. He's said that countless times over the years. He managed to get his hands on the English. He was obviously gutted that he got a draw, but you know, I think that if he performs again like that, he'll be a tough man to beat. So
I'm excited. There's hairs on the back of my neck just talking about it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's lovely to see you here. Tell us a little bit about what you do and some other stuff you're getting into right now.
So obviously people know me as Scribs. I've had a music career for the best part of 20 years. I'm also a huge fight fan, mostly boxing, but just combat sports in general. I've got a couple of media channels, which is like JVM Sports, which obviously captures boxing and combat sports as a whole. And I've also got the Armchair Fan, which is a new channel which I've started, which is basically, it's almost like a bit of a podcast. It's where we interview fighters, we show highlights of different events that we attend, and also knockouts, which is what everyone wants to see.
Well, I've got a YouTube channel, the Barnet Boxing Barber. Lovely. And you have a word with your mate Brad Pauls, because I'm trying to get an interview with him. He's gone all Hollywood on me, and every time I get in touch with him, I talk to him for ages, but then when I try to get him down for an interview, he's away. And you just told me he's heading back out the county tomorrow, so I've missed him again.
He'll be back down. He's, like I said, everyone wants to interview Brad, especially at the moment, because obviously he's peaked. Yeah. But I just think that, you know, you'll get your time where he's always around. I think I know that the guys here at the events here, that XFC, they want to get him on some of the shows as well, to, if not be a judge, or just to, so you'll definitely get.
You said you're doing some social media for him and pushing him forward. I noticed some of the stuff with him standing on top of the big white building there in Newquay. So did you do that?
No, that wasn't me. That was a friend of mine, Alex Jones, at Sloth Productions.
Yeah.
I tend to go up to Brad in Essex at the Fight Academy and see some of his training. We try and capture it, as well as some of his fights. But the problem is, it's a bit difficult now because if he's got his TV rights. Yeah. He's with Sky. You can't get a look in there. They don't want you there with a camera. Yeah. But it's just good to be around him. You know, I think once he passes out, it'll be a very long time before Cornwall has someone to back. Yeah. So we have to make the most of it.
Yeah. You know, from us as living down here and enjoying the Cornish fight scene, you know, to all of those people that travelled up to Birmingham to see Brad fight, you know, fantastic. You know, you know, were very well entertained, and thank you so much for supporting Brad Pauls.
Yeah, no problems at all. It's always a pleasure, and we'll follow him all around the country until he's champion and beyond. So yeah.
Okay. Well, enjoy your night here, and I'm sure we'll see some knockouts and we'll have some fun.
Definitely. Come
Cheers.
on.
Keep punching. Cheers. Man, lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice one.
Yeah. Nice one.